From the dawn of time, humanity has sought connection with something greater, a force beyond the physical world, a truth that illuminates our purpose. Across cultures and centuries, this search for the divine has taken many forms, yet the essence of the journey remains unchanged. It is a universal path, hidden in plain sight, waiting for those courageous enough to seek it. The great spiritual traditions of the world, though expressed in different languages, symbols, and rituals, share a common destination: union with the divine. The ancient teachings of Christ describe the straight and narrow path, a disciplined and faithful way leading to eternal life. The Buddha spoke of the middle way, a balanced path transcending extremes, guiding seekers toward enlightenment. The Chinese sage Lao Tzu called it the way, a harmonious alignment with the rhythms of the universe, rooted in simplicity and profound wisdom. Though their names differ, their purpose is singular: to rise above the illusions of the material world and awaken to the reality of divine consciousness. Each of these paths points to one profound truth: the human spirit is meant to ascend, to evolve, to transform. But what does this path demand of us? It calls for the conquest of the small self, the ego, with its desires, fears, and attachments. It requires the surrender of the transient for the eternal. For Christ, this was dying to oneself. For the Buddha, it was the cessation of craving. This universal principle reminds us that liberation does not come from adding more to ourselves, but from stripping away the illusions that obscure the light already within us. It is a journey of transformation, a path to rediscover the divine essence that has always been part of us. Chalice of the heart. One of the most profound symbols of the spiritual journey is the chalice of the heart. Imagine a vessel, not crafted from gold or silver, but formed from pure intention and spiritual clarity. This chalice, the purified heart, is capable of receiving divine light. Yet, it cannot hold this light while cluttered with the debris of fear, doubt, or selfish desires. Like a craftsman refining metal, we are called to purify this vessel, making it worthy of its sacred purpose. Throughout history, there have been those who have walked this path before us: the saints, sages, mystics, and great teachers who left behind blueprints for spiritual awakening. Their lives are testaments to what is possible when the human spirit aligns with divine will. They remind us that while the journey may be challenging, it is also deeply rewarding. These enlightened ones, known by many names, masters of wisdom, adepts, elders, do not exist to be worshipped. Instead, they exist to guide. They show us the way to rise above the ordinary and step onto the path that leads to the heights of divine consciousness. Through their teachings, we are reminded that the spiritual journey is not meant to be traveled alone. Yet, this path is not only about transcending the self, it is also about transforming the world. As we purify our hearts and expand our consciousness, we become vessels of divine light, pouring it into the world around us. This is the essence of the universal path, not just a solitary ascent to enlightenment, but a journey of service, love, and illuminating the darkest corners of existence. We must also remember that this path is deeply personal. While its destination is universal, the journey itself is unique for each individual. Some may find the divine through prayer, others through meditation, service, or study. Some may feel closest to God in nature, while others may find Him in the quiet of their own hearts. There is no single way, no one-size-fits-all formula. The universal path is as diverse as the souls who walk it. Yet, no matter the form it takes, the heart of the journey remains the same: a deepening connection with the divine. It is about expanding our perspective, recognizing that life is far more than what meets the eye. It is about realizing that we are not separate from the divine but a part of it, a spark of the infinite seeking to return to its source. As you walk this path, remember, it is not a race. There is no destination to be reached in haste. The journey itself is sacred, and every step matters. The universal path to the divine is not about perfection, it is about progress. It is about opening your heart, purifying your soul, and allowing the light of the divine to shine through you. So take the first step. Seek the light, however faint it may seem. Follow the whispers of your soul, the pull of your heart. The universal path to the divine is waiting, not in some distant realm, but right here within you. Let us walk it together, for the chalice of the heart is ready to be filled. Segment 2. Purification of the heart. How to cleanse the heart and make room for divine light. The journey to divine consciousness begins with a single vital step, the purification of the heart. Across all spiritual traditions, the heart is regarded as the gateway to the soul, the sacred space where the human meets the divine. Yet for most of us, this sacred space is clouded, filled with fears, desires, doubts, and attachments that block the flow of divine energy. To progress on the spiritual path, we must first cleanse the heart, transforming it into a vessel capable of receiving and reflecting divine light. What does it mean to purify the heart? It is not a physical cleansing, nor is it a simple act of will. It is an inward journey, a deliberate shedding of the emotional and mental burdens that weigh us down. Fear, despair, hatred, envy, and doubt are the chains that bind us, the barriers that prevent us from accessing our true spiritual potential. Purification is the act of breaking these chains, dissolving these barriers so that the light of the divine can flow freely through us. The first step in this process is self-awareness. We must begin by looking inward, not with judgment, but with honesty and compassion. What emotions dominate our hearts? What thoughts fill our minds? What desires drive our actions? Only by recognizing the impurities within us can we begin to release them. This process requires courage, as it often means confronting parts of ourselves we'd rather ignore. But without this confrontation, there can be no transformation. As we become aware of our inner landscape, we must learn the art of letting go. Fear is often the greatest obstacle, a shadow lingering in the corners of our hearts. Fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of the unknown. It keeps us rooted in the familiar, even when the familiar no longer serves us. To purify the heart, we must face our fears and release them, trusting in the greater plan of the divine. Doubt, too, must be released. It is natural to question the path, to wonder whether the journey is real or worthwhile. But doubt, when left unchecked, becomes a weight that drags us down. True faith is not blind belief. It is a quiet certainty that arises from the depths of the soul. To cultivate this faith, we must surrender our doubts to the divine, trusting that we are being guided, even when the way forward is unclear. Another major obstacle is anger and resentment. These emotions act like poison, corroding the purity of the heart. When we hold on to anger, we bind ourselves to the very thing that caused our pain. Forgiveness, then, is not just an act of mercy, it is an act of liberation. To forgive is to free ourselves, to create space in the heart for love and peace to grow. Desire also requires examination. This does not mean renouncing all desires, as some are natural and even necessary. But we must discern which desires serve our spiritual growth and which tether us to the material world. Idle desires, those arising from ego or craving, must be released, for they clutter the heart and distract us from our higher purpose. Purification of the heart also requires daily practices, rituals that anchor us in the present moment and align us with the divine. Prayer, meditation, and mindfulness are powerful tools for cleansing the heart. These practices quiet the mind, soothe the emotions, and allow us to connect with the eternal within. They are like a gentle rain, washing away the dust and grime that accumulate in our hearts over time. By committing to these steps, self-awareness, letting go of fear and doubt, releasing anger and ego-driven desires, and maintaining regular spiritual practices, we begin to transform the heart into a purified vessel, capable of holding divine light. This is the foundation of the journey to divine consciousness, a journey that ultimately brings us closer to our highest selves and to the infinite source of all love and truth. Creation of a spiritual altar within the heart. One ancient practice for purification is the creation of a spiritual altar within the heart. Imagine, if you will, that your heart is a shrine, a sacred space where the divine dwells. Each morning as you awaken, Visualize this shrine and dedicate your day to the divine. Let this act be a sacrifice, not of physical possessions, but of ego, selfishness, and anything that does not serve your highest self. In doing so, you transform your heart into a sanctuary of light and love, a dwelling place for the divine presence. As the heart becomes purified, it begins to radiate a new energy, a peaceful, loving vibration that touches everyone and everything around it. This is the true power of the purified heart. It not only transforms the individual, but also the world. Once cleansed, the heart becomes a channel for divine love, pouring it into the world like a fountain of light. However, this is not a one-time process. Purification is a lifelong journey. Each day brings new challenges, new emotions, and new impurities to address. There will be setbacks, moments when old fears or desires resurface, but these moments are not failures. They are opportunities for growth. Each time we face an impurity and release it, we strengthen our connection to the divine. It is also important to remember that purification is not about perfection. It is not about erasing every flaw or eliminating every emotion. Instead, it is about creating balance and harmony within ourselves. It is about aligning our hearts with the rhythm of the universe, allowing divine light to flow through us without obstruction. We must approach this journey with patience and compassion, both for ourselves and for others. The path to purification is not easy, but it is profoundly rewarding. With each step, we draw closer to our true nature, closer to the divine source from which we came. As you reflect on these words, take a moment to consider, what burdens are you carrying in your heart? What fears, doubts, or desires are holding you back? Imagine releasing them, one by one, until your heart feels light and free. Visualize your heart as a radiant chalice, glowing with divine light, ready to pour love and peace into the world. This is the power of a purified heart. It is the foundation of the spiritual path, the first step on the journey to divine consciousness, and it is a step that each of us can take, here and now. As the heart begins to purify, a greater truth unfolds. Life is not a single fleeting moment. It is a vast journey spanning countless lifetimes, each one a chapter in the story of the soul. While we often see ourselves as bound by the limitations of a single existence, the truth is far more expansive. The soul, eternal and unchanging, weaves its way through time, experiencing, learning and evolving. This is the journey of the soul, a cycle of birth, death, and rebirth stretching across the eons. In every lifetime, the soul takes on a new form, a new identity, to gather the lessons it needs for its ultimate evolution. These lifetimes are not random or meaningless. They are meticulously designed by the laws of the universe, shaped by karma, the law of cause and effect. Every action, every thought, every choice we make sets ripples into motion that echo across lifetimes. This is not punishment or reward in the conventional sense, but a process of growth, a divine balancing act that guides the soul toward wholeness. Imagine the soul as a sculptor, chipping away at the stone of existence to reveal the masterpiece within. Each lifetime is another stroke of the chisel, another step toward perfection. Some lifetimes may be filled with joy and achievement, while others may be marked by pain and struggle. Yet, each experience, no matter how small or profound, contributes to the soul's ultimate purpose, to awaken to its divine nature. This journey is not linear. It does not move in a straight line from beginning to end. Instead, it spirals, returning us to similar challenges and experiences until we have fully understood their lessons. A relationship that brings pain in one life may return in another, offering us the opportunity to heal and transform. A talent we barely glimpse in one lifetime may bloom into mastery in the next. The journey is one of refinement, of becoming more aligned with the eternal essence that lies at the core of our being. Causal body. Throughout the journey of the soul, its accumulated wisdom and experiences are carried within what is often called the causal body. This is the soul's repository, a sacred space that holds the essence of who we are across lifetimes. While our physical bodies and personalities change with each incarnation, the causal body remains constant, a thread of continuity connecting all our experiences. In each lifetime, The soul sets out with a specific purpose, a lesson, a task, or a gift to share with the world. Some lifetimes focus on learning compassion, others on strength, patience, or humility. Each life builds upon the last, creating a mosaic of growth that ultimately leads toward enlightenment. These lessons may not always be obvious. Often, they are disguised within the struggles and challenges we face. Yet, there is always a purpose, even if it is hidden from view. One of the most profound aspects of the soul's journey is the interplay between the lower self and the higher self. The lower self encompasses our earthly identity, our personality, ego, and desires. It is the part of us that experiences life in the material world, navigating both its joys and sorrows. The higher self, on the other hand, is our divine essence, the timeless, infinite part of us that exists beyond the physical realm. It is the guiding force, the quiet voice that calls us toward the light. The journey of the soul is, in many ways, a process of bringing these two aspects into harmony. The lower self must learn to surrender to the higher self, allowing its wisdom and love to flow freely. This is no easy task, as the ego resists surrender, clinging to illusions of control and separateness. Yet, with each lifetime, the soul gently guides the lower self closer to alignment, closer to unity with the divine. Death, often feared and misunderstood, is not the end of this journey but a doorway to the next chapter. When the physical body falls away, the soul enters a realm of reflection and preparation. It reviews the life just lived, noting the lessons learned and the work that remains. This period between lifetimes is one of rest and renewal, a chance for the soul to integrate its experiences before returning to the physical world. Many traditions describe this as the astral or spiritual plane, a place where the soul communes with other souls, reconnects with spiritual guides, and plans its next incarnation. It is here that the soul chooses its next path, selecting circumstances, relationships, and challenges that will best serve its growth. These choices are made with wisdom and clarity, for the soul understands what the lower self often forgets. Every experience, no matter how difficult, is an opportunity to evolve. The journey of the soul is a testament to the vastness of existence, a reminder that we are far more than the fleeting identities we inhabit. It calls us to embrace the long view, to see our lives not as isolated moments, but as threads in an eternal tapestry. Each life is a gift, an opportunity to grow closer to the divine, to refine the chalice of the heart so that it may one day hold the fullness of divine light. While the journey may seem daunting, it is also filled with beauty and grace. Every act of kindness, every moment of love, every step toward truth adds to the soul's radiance. We are not alone on this path. We are supported by the wisdom of those who have walked before us, by the guidance of our higher selves, and by the infinite love of the divine. As you reflect on the journey of the soul, remember that you are always in motion, always evolving. The challenges you face today are not obstacles but stepping stones, each one bringing you closer to the light. The journey may be long, but its destination is certain, a return to the divine, a reunion with the source of all that is. Hold this truth in your heart: you are more than this moment, more than this body, more than this identity. You are an eternal soul, journeying toward the divine, carrying the light of countless lifetimes within you. Trust in the process, embrace the lessons, and allow the journey to unfold. For in the end, the journey itself is the greatest gift. The ego, our sense of individuality, is both a gift and a challenge. It allows us to navigate the physical world, to differentiate ourselves, and to grow through personal experiences. Yet, the ego is also the greatest obstacle on the spiritual path. It clings to attachments, craves recognition, and blinds us to the truth of our divine nature. To progress toward enlightenment, we must overcome the ego and free ourselves from the chains of personal attachments. This process is not about erasing who we are or rejecting our individuality. It is about transcending the ego's limitations, allowing our higher self to take the lead. The ego is like a veil that separates us from divine consciousness. It whispers that we are separate, alone, and that our worth is defined by external achievements or possessions. To overcome it, we must first recognize it for what it is: a tool, not the master. The first step in overcoming the ego is understanding its nature. The ego thrives on identification. It says, I am this body, I am my possessions, I am my successes, my failures, my relationships. It defines itself by what it owns and controls, by the roles it plays. Yet, these are fleeting. The body ages, possessions come and go, and relationships change. If we define ourselves solely through these, we are bound to suffer. To transcend the ego is to step into the truth of our divine nature, to remember that we are not defined by what is temporary, but by the eternal light within us. Through self-awareness, surrender, and a commitment to spiritual growth, we can gently dissolve the ego's hold and allow the divine to shine through. External to the eternal. To rise above the ego, we must shift our sense of identity from the external to the eternal. We are not the roles we play or the masks we wear. At our core, we are souls, divine sparks of the infinite, untouched by the impermanence of the material world. This realization marks the beginning of true liberation. The ego's strongest grip often comes through personal attachments. These attachments are not inherently wrong. Love, connection, and community are vital aspects of the human experience. However, when attachments become possessive or conditional, they turn into chains that bind us. We must learn to love without clinging, to connect without losing ourselves. Consider the words of Christ, "He that loveth mother or son more than me is not worthy of me." This is not a call to abandon those we love, but a reminder to prioritize the eternal over the temporary. It is about loving from a place of spiritual freedom rather than dependency. True love does not bind, it liberates. Overcoming attachment also means letting go of the desire to control. The ego fears uncertainty and clings to the illusion of control, attempting to shape the world according to its own desires. But control is a mirage. The more we try to grasp it, the more it slips through our fingers. To overcome the ego, we must surrender, not in defeat, but in trust. Trust in the divine plan, in the wisdom of the universe, and in the knowledge that we are exactly where we are meant to be. Another aspect of the ego is its need for validation. It craves recognition, applause, and approval, feeding on the opinions of others. Yet, true worth does not come from external validation. It comes from within. To overcome the ego, we must cultivate self-worth that is independent of external circumstances. This requires quieting the inner voice that says, "You are not enough," and replacing it with the truth, "You are a divine being, complete as you are." One of the most profound challenges on the spiritual path is releasing attachment to outcomes. The ego ties our happiness to specific results, saying, "I will be happy when I achieve this, or when I have that." True peace, however, comes from detachment, from the ability to act without being bound by the fruits of our actions. This does not mean apathy or indifference. It means giving our best effort while surrendering the outcome to the divine. The Bhagavad Gita refers to this as karma yoga, the path of selfless action. It teaches us to work without attachment, to give without expecting anything in return. This practice is a powerful antidote to the ego, as it shifts our focus from "what can I gain?" to "how can I serve?" Perhaps the greatest attachment we must release is the attachment to the self. The ego clings to a false sense of individuality, insisting that we are separate from others, from the world, and from the divine. This illusion of separateness creates fear, loneliness, and division. To overcome the ego, we must embrace unity. We must see ourselves not as isolated beings, but as interconnected threads in the vast tapestry of existence. This realization does not diminish our individuality, it enhances it. When we recognize our oneness with all that is, we no longer need to compete, compare, or conquer. We can simply be whole, complete, and at peace. The process of overcoming the ego is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong journey, filled with moments of insight and moments of struggle. There will be times when the ego reasserts itself, whispering old fears and desires. But with each step we take, its hold weakens. Each time we choose love over fear, trust over control, and service over self-interest, we move closer to liberation. The journey may be long, but every act of surrender, every moment of awareness, and every choice to align with the eternal brings us closer to the truth of who we are, divine beings, limitless and interconnected, on a path of love, peace, and unity. Practical steps toward liberation. Practical steps can help us on this transformative journey. Meditation quiets the ego's chatter, connecting us to the stillness within. Acts of selfless service remind us of our interconnectedness, while gratitude shifts our focus from lack to abundance. Moments of reflection allow us to observe the ego without judgment, gently guiding it back into alignment with our higher self. Take a moment to reflect on your own attachments. What do you cling to? What fears or desires keep you bound? Imagine releasing them one by one until you feel light, free, and at peace. Visualize your ego as a veil gently lifting, revealing the radiant truth of your divine nature. Overcoming the ego is not about losing yourself. It is about finding your true self. It is about breaking free from illusions and stepping into the infinite light of your higher being. This is the journey of liberation, the path to divine consciousness. The spiritual journey, active pursuit and transformation. The spiritual journey is not a passive unfolding. It is an active pursuit, a climb toward mastery that demands courage, discipline, and transformation. This ascent is marked by milestones known as initiations. Across traditions, these profound, life-changing moments signify the soul breaking free from old limitations and stepping into higher consciousness. They are not rewards but the natural result of inner work and readiness, serving as gateways to mastery. Initiation invites the soul into greater spiritual responsibility. Each initiation represents a step closer to the divine, a shedding of illusions and attachments, and a deeper alignment with universal laws. But this sacred path is not granted lightly. It is reserved for those who have prepared themselves to embrace the challenges and responsibilities of spiritual growth. Preparation for initiation, discipline, dedication, and surrender. Preparation begins with cultivating three essential qualities: discipline, dedication, and surrender. Discipline trains the mind and body, forging the strength needed to endure the trials of the path. Dedication anchors the seeker, keeping their focus unwavering amidst worldly distractions. Surrender opens the heart, allowing the soul to align with divine will. The stages of initiation. The spiritual journey is not a passive unfolding. It is an active pursuit, a climb toward mastery that demands courage, discipline, and transformation. This ascent is marked by milestones known as initiations. Across traditions, these profound, life-changing moments signify the soul breaking free from old limitations and stepping into higher consciousness. They are not rewards but the natural result of inner work and readiness, serving as gateways to mastery. Initiation invites the soul into greater spiritual responsibility. Each initiation represents a step closer to the divine, a shedding of illusions and attachments, and a deeper alignment with universal laws. But this sacred path is not granted lightly. It is reserved for those who have prepared themselves to embrace the challenges and responsibilities of spiritual growth. Trials and their purpose. Each initiation is accompanied by trials that test character, strength, and faith. These trials, whether external, loss, conflict, adversity, or internal, doubt, fear, temptation, are not punishments but opportunities for refinement. They reveal weaknesses not to shame the seeker but to highlight areas for growth. Facing these trials strengthens the initiate, preparing them for the next step on the path. Service and collective evolution. Initiations are not merely personal achievements. They are deeply connected to the collective evolution of humanity. Every step an individual takes on this path contributes to the spiritual progress of the whole. The initiate becomes a beacon of light, inspiring and guiding others on their own journeys. This is the essence of mastery, not personal attainment but the ability to uplift others. Becoming aligned with the divine. The path of initiation requires courage to confront shadows, humility to recognize true power in surrender, and faith to trust the unseen. It is not about reaching a destination but about becoming more aligned with the divine, more attuned to universal rhythms, and more capable of expressing the light within. Take a moment to reflect. Where are you on this journey? What trials have shaped you? What lessons have you learned? What aspects of yourself are still being refined? Remember, initiation is not about perfection but progress. Each step brings you closer to the light. The journey's reward. The path of mastery is open to all willing to walk it, a path of courage, love, and service. Though challenging, it is deeply rewarding, leading to the realization of your highest potential and the heart of the divine itself. Take the next step with confidence. Embrace the trials, learn from the lessons, and trust the process. Each moment of growth, each act of love, and each surrender to the divine brings you closer to mastery. In this mastery, you will find not only your liberation but the power to help others find theirs. Death as transformation, viewing death as a passage, not an end. Death is one of life's greatest mysteries, a threshold that all must cross but few truly understand. To many, it is a source of fear and sorrow, a symbol of finality and loss. Yet, in truth, death is not an ending, it is a transformation. It is the soul's passage from one realm to another, a vital part of the eternal cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. When seen from the perspective of the soul, death becomes not a tragedy but a profound and necessary step in the journey of spiritual evolution. From the moment we are born, death is our constant companion. Yet, despite its inevitability, it remains shrouded in fear and misunderstanding. This fear stems from the ego, which clings to the physical body and the identity it has built in the material world. To the ego, death represents destruction, the end of all it knows. But the soul sees beyond this illusion. It understands that death is merely a transition, a shedding of the outer form that allows the inner essence to continue its journey. Imagine a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly. To the caterpillar, the chrysalis might seem like the end. Its old form dissolves, and everything it once knew falls away. But this dissolution is not death, it is metamorphosis. What emerges from the chrysalis is something new, something greater. So it is with the soul. Death is the chrysalis through which we pass, shedding the limitations of the physical body to awaken to a higher reality. The journey of the soul. At the moment of death, the soul begins an inward journey. The life thread connecting the soul to the physical body is gently severed, releasing the soul from its earthly form. This process often brings a sense of lightness, as if a great weight has been lifted. Many who have experienced near-death states describe a profound peace and a feeling of being drawn toward a radiant light, a beacon calling the soul home to higher realms. The first phase of the journey after death is reflection. Freed from the distractions of the material world, the soul enters a state of clarity, reviewing the life just lived. This review is not about judgment or punishment, but about understanding. Every moment, every choice, every interaction is seen in its true light. The soul gains insight into the lessons mastered and areas where growth is still needed. For those who have prepared themselves spiritually, this transition can be a time of great beauty and peace. The soul moves effortlessly toward higher planes, guided by its own light and the presence of spiritual helpers. For others, the journey may be more turbulent. Attachments to the material world, unresolved emotions, and unfulfilled desires can create confusion and resistance, holding the soul in lower planes until it is ready to move forward. Guidance and connection. One of the most comforting truths about death is that it is never solitary. On the other side of the veil, guides, loved ones, and spiritual beings await the soul's arrival. These helpers offer reassurance and guidance, easing the soul's transition into its new reality. Death, then, is not a lonely journey but a reunion, a return to a realm of unity and connection. Purification and renewal. After leaving the physical body, the soul undergoes a process of purification, releasing the emotional and mental imprints carried during life. This cleansing is essential for the soul's ascent to higher realms. Many traditions symbolize this process through rituals or prayers for the deceased, helping to release the soul from lingering attachments or burdens. Death also provides the soul with an opportunity for rest and renewal between lifetimes. In a state often described as paradise or the astral plane, the soul is free from physical demands, allowing it to reflect, heal, and prepare for its next incarnation. This period of rest is not an escape but a necessary pause, a time for the soul to integrate its experiences and realign with its higher purpose. Death as service. Death is not only a personal transformation, but also a moment of service. The way we approach death, our ability to release fear, embrace trust, and surrender to the divine, creates ripples that extend far beyond ourselves. Meeting death with peace and acceptance becomes a source of light for others, showing that death is not to be feared but embraced as a natural and sacred part of life. Living in preparation for death. To prepare for death, we must live with intention. This means cultivating a life free from unnecessary attachments, guided by love, compassion, and a deep connection to the divine. It involves reflecting regularly on the impermanence of all things, not with sadness, but with gratitude for the fleeting beauty of existence. It also means fostering a relationship with the eternal, a connection to the soul that transcends the boundaries of life and death. When the time comes to cross the threshold, may you do so with courage, peace, and the knowledge that you are returning to the light from which you came. For death is not the loss of life, but the awakening of the soul. It is the moment when the butterfly emerges from the chrysalis, ready to soar into the infinite. Karma and Dharma, navigating life's lessons. In the grand journey of the soul, two universal forces guide our path: karma and dharma. These twin principles are not abstract concepts, but the framework through which we experience, learn, and grow. They shape the fabric of our lives, weaving together past actions, present circumstances, and future opportunities for growth. To understand karma and dharma is to hold the key to navigating life's lessons with wisdom and purpose. Karma, the law of cause and effect. Karma teaches that every action, thought, and intention sets a ripple into motion, echoes that reverberate through time. These ripples shape the circumstances of our lives, not as punishment or reward, but as opportunities for growth and understanding. If we plant seeds of kindness, compassion, and love, we harvest joy and harmony. Conversely, if we sow seeds of selfishness or harm, we face the consequences, not as retribution, but as lessons designed to guide our evolution. Karma reminds us of the interconnectedness of all things. Every choice we make affects not only ourselves, but also those around us and the greater whole. It is a call to act with integrity and consider the impact of our actions on others and the world. Yet, karma is not immutable. It is not a fixed sentence. With awareness and effort, we can transform our karma, breaking free from cycles of suffering and creating a path toward liberation. Dharma, the path of purpose. While karma maps out the lessons we must learn, Dharma reveals the path we are meant to walk to fulfill our soul's purpose. Dharma is often translated as duty or righteous action, but its meaning runs deeper. It is the unique role we are meant to play in the cosmic order, the work we are called to do in this lifetime to grow and contribute to the whole. Dharma is deeply personal. It is not about following someone else's path or meeting societal expectations. Instead, it is about aligning with our inner truth, listening to the call of the soul, and embracing the responsibilities that come with it. The Bhagavad Gita reminds us, better to follow your own dharma, however imperfectly, than to perfectly fulfill the dharma of another. Only by walking our own path can we realize our highest potential. Each of us is born into circumstances shaped by our karma, providing the perfect environment to fulfill our dharma. The family we are born into, the challenges we face, and the talents we possess are all tailored to the lessons we must learn and the gifts we are meant to share. Dharma calls us to see these circumstances not as limitations but as opportunities for growth. Living in alignment with Dharma requires courage. It often asks us to step into the unknown, embrace discomfort, and trust in the guidance of the divine. It asks us to let go of comparison and judgment, focusing not on what others are doing, but on what we are meant to do. When we stray from our Dharma, life becomes a struggle filled with frustration and dissatisfaction. But when we align with our Dharma, we find a sense of flow, purpose, and fulfillment that transcends life's ups and downs. The interplay of karma and dharma. Karma and dharma are not separate forces. They are deeply intertwined. Our karma creates the conditions for our dharma, and fulfilling our dharma helps resolve our karma. Together, they guide us toward balance and harmony, teaching the lessons needed for the soul's evolution. This framework operates not only on an individual level, but also collectively. Families, communities, nations, and even humanity as a whole have their own karma and dharma. Understanding this allows us to approach the world with greater compassion, recognizing that everyone and every group is navigating unique lessons. Reflecting on your journey. As you reflect on your life, consider these questions. What patterns or lessons keep appearing? These are the echoes of your karma, guiding you toward growth. What feels most natural, meaningful, and aligned with your inner truth? This is the call of your dharma, urging you to step into your purpose. Transforming perspective. When we embrace karma and dharma, life transforms from a series of random events into a purposeful journey. Challenges become opportunities, setbacks become redirections, and every moment becomes a chance to grow. This perspective infuses life with meaning, direction, and hope, reminding us that our journey, shaped by these universal forces, is both intentional and divine. Conclusion: the chalice of the heart as a beacon of peace. As we come to the end of this journey, we return to the profound symbol at its core, the chalice of the heart. This chalice is not an object to be sought or a treasure to be discovered in the external world. It is the sacred space within each of us, a vessel meant to hold divine light, radiate peace, and transform the world through love. Throughout history, mystics and sages have described this chalice in many ways. Some have called it the Holy Grail, a sacred object imbued with the power of divine union. Others have likened it to a lotus, blooming only after its roots have pushed through the mud. Regardless of the symbol, the message remains the same. The heart, when purified and aligned with the divine, becomes a beacon of light and a source of boundless peace, for both the individual and the world. Cultivating the chalice within. To cultivate this chalice within ourselves, we must embrace the lessons of the spiritual path. Purify the heart, free it from fear, doubt, and selfish desires. Rise above the ego, shed attachments that bind us to illusions. Navigate life's challenges with grace. Learn the lessons of karma and walk the path of dharma. Allow divine light to flow through us, illuminate our own lives and the lives of those around us. The chalice of the heart is more than a symbol of personal transformation. It is a call to collective awakening. Each time one of us purifies our heart and aligns with the divine, we contribute to the healing of the world. Our inner peace becomes a ripple that spreads outward, touching everyone we encounter. Our light becomes a guide for the lost and a source of hope for the weary. A vision of collective transformation. Imagine for a moment what the world might look like if more of us embraced this truth. If more hearts became chalices, radiating love and compassion, how would our relationships change? How might our communities transform? Could we heal the divisions that plague humanity and create a world rooted in peace? The chalice of the heart is not just a personal quest, it is a shared responsibility. It reminds us that our spiritual growth is not separate from the world, but deeply connected to it. As we awaken to our divine nature, we inspire others to do the same. Together, we create a network of light, a collective beacon guiding humanity toward unity, harmony, and love. Overcoming challenges on the path. This journey is not without challenges. There will be moments of doubt, times when the path feels too steep and the obstacles too great. In those moments, remember that the chalice of the heart is already within you. You do not need to create it. You only need to uncover it. Beneath the layers of fear, ego, and pain, your heart already holds divine light. It has always been there, waiting for you to remember. Take a moment now to reflect on the journey you have taken. Think of the trials you have faced, the lessons you have learned, and the growth you have experienced. See each step, no matter how small, as part of the process of shaping your inner chalice. Every act of love, moment of forgiveness, and choice to trust rather than fear has brought you closer to becoming a beacon of peace. Be the chalice. Let your heart be that chalice. Let it radiate peace to the restless, hope to the weary, and love to the lonely. In doing so, you fulfill the greatest purpose of life, to be a channel for the divine, bringing light into the darkness and creating a world that reflects the infinite beauty of the soul. A final blessing. May the chalice of your heart always be filled with divine light. May it guide you through life's challenges, inspire you to embrace your highest self, and illuminate the path for others. For in the end, the chalice of the heart is not just a symbol of transformation. It is a beacon of peace, a reminder that within each of us lies the power to heal, to love, and to create a world of boundless harmony. What do you think about the connection between your inner self and the eternal values mentioned above? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with our latest videos. If you have some extra time, feel free to check out more videos on the channel.